Today, I wanted to share the story of the time that I was hate crimed. Well, I have some hot gossip, some hot tea about the time that I was hate crimed. Thumbnail. At an event that I was invited to through TikTok, and he was a fellow TikToker, and he had a lot of followers. I was shook by the end of it. And this event was so crazy anyways. This event had so many twists and turns. There were so many details, so many intricacies that I wish I could share with you guys that were just so weird and something that you would never expect to experience when you're literally working alongside other creators who have literal platforms. So let's kick it to the beginning. I was invited to this event. It was a 2-day concert. I'd never been to a concert before. And let me say this. I have to confess something, okay? I am a country music fanatic. I know. So believe it or not, I love country music, and I was so excited to get this invitation. I thought it was so cool at the time. I was like, oh my God, of course I want to be a part of this. This is the coolest thing ever. I get to go to a concert, my first concert, 2-day concert, country music festival. All my rednecks are going to be there. All my country folks are going to be there. It's going to be a good time. We're going to get down and party and all that good stuff. But guess what? There wasn't a whole lot of getting down, and there wasn't a whole lot of partying, but there was a lot of mud and a lot of rain and a lot of homophobic people. So now that I think about it, that's my entire childhood. Here's the thing, I am not a dumb person. So before I even agreed to do this, I did get assurance from the person that was putting this together that I would not be singled out for being the only gay creator in this space. I know some small-minded towns can be, but I thought that going into an influencer space, I thought that I was gonna be peachy keen to go to this concert. I got assurance from the person putting it all together who was basically like, look, Tate, you're gonna be fine. If I even get wind that someone's even slightly homophobic, they'll be X'd right before the event starts. We'll escort them off the property, whatever the case is. We do not tolerate homophobia in this house. Yes, God. Spoiler alert, there was definitely homophobia and it was never shut down or even addressed at all. So to set the scene for you, there is a group of people flying in from the West Coast, and then there's a group of people who are more local to the area of Alabama, which is where the concert was. Now, as you can imagine, the folks that grew up in Alabama already have established friends, they have their own clique, and the kids flying in from California very quickly made friends with each other and were bonding on their influencer lifestyle of having a million bajillion followers. Let me tell you, these kids were mega famous. A couple of them were genuinely some of the sweetest kids that you could imagine to have that level of popularity. That's a totally another story. So when we arrive, they immediately start clicking up. We have the West Coast kids over here and the Alabama folks over here. Now, I do want to mention something that's very important. The Alabama folks are predominantly older, so they're out of their teenage years. They're kind of probably 20s-ish. The West Coast kids are definitely younger. They're like under 20. And me, having to be the peacekeeper, I just felt the need to be the mediator. I don't know why, but I felt like if I didn't step in and try to make everyone happy and comfortable, me, an empath. Oh my God, it all makes sense now. Trying to be the mediator and keeping these two groups from clawing each other's eyes out. For example, there was this air conditioner outside. We only had one air conditioner and the weather was crazy warm. That one air conditioner could not fill up the entire outside tent. So whatever direction it pointed, you had to stand directly in front of it to really feel the cool air. These two groups literally kept fighting over who gets the air. They would make it a point to literally grab the air conditioner and like pull it from side to side, like as though they were offended that the other person had moved it in the first place. So me, I'm like trying to be nice to everybody, and I'm like trying to go around and talk and make friends and make connections. Now that I think about it, I may have literally been the only sane person at this event. They would even argue over who gets to sit where because guess what? There wasn't enough seating to accommodate all of the influencers that were invited. So now back to the cliques. The Alabama group had one specific person who was kind of the forefront of that group. He was the leader. He was the team captain of the Alabamians. Alabamians? Alabamanians. Alabamanians. He's a huge country TikToker. He was a huge creator on TikTok. He had over 1 million followers. He had a lot of people coming up to him during the event. He had a lot of fans there, especially because he was local, so it was kind of like a double whammy. And look, this wasn't my first rodeo. Get it? Because it's a country concert. I'm hilarious. And I know how to interact with country, straight, white guys, all right? Gotta kind of play the part a little bit, whatever. And honestly, I wasn't trying to make best friends with him by the time I left. I just wanted to be on good terms so that nobody clawed each other's eyes out.
Again, me, an empath.
And the entire time that that I'm there, he is not having it. And him and his whole little troop of country dumplings were not giving me the time of day, even though I was doing everything that I could, going out of my way to be as nice and kind and respectful to these people as possible. The entire time, I felt like I was paid dust, and it was really offensive now that I think back on it, because I was so nice to these people. And then it happened, and then it came to a head, and I cannot put into words how annoyed I was at this situation. And I'm gonna tell you what it is, and you can tell me in the comments if you think I'm justified in my feelings or if I overreacted. So there's this one really big sectional chair, and myself and the West Coast kids were sitting on it really close together because, like I said, there's not enough seating to accommodate everybody. So if you were sitting down, it was kind of like unspoken rule that you had to squeeze in as tight as you could so you didn't take up as much space. So we're sitting on the left side, the country dumplings are sitting over here on the right side, and in walks in Mr., what should we call him? Mr. Krusty Dusty? Let's call him Mr. Krusty Dusty. In walks Mr. Krusty Dusty. Me, an empath, says to him, here you go, you can sit next to your friends. Literally very, very cordial, so nice, so respectful, just like the good Lord taught me. He looks at me, he makes a face kind of like, and then he shrugs his head no. And then me, giving him the benefit of the doubt, thinking to myself, no, he just doesn't want to get in the way. Come on in, sit on down, brother. Get yourself a seat. He then goes, no, I'm good. Sits down at some random like cooler or something that obviously isn't a seat. And then the gag happens. The gaggle of country dumplings say, go ahead, bro, grab you a seat, man. Obviously, they were making fun of the fact that I was offering him a seat next to me. So in the moment, it's not clicking, it's not registering that these people are actively trying to make a joke out of the fact that I just offered him a seat next to me. Because again, I'm the only gay person there, and obviously, this uneducated group of folks think that it's hilarious that a straight guy would sit down next to a gay guy. A straight guy sitting next to a gay guy? Oh my God! So they're laughing and cutting up, and he obviously is like playing into the joke, so he comes over and he finally sits next to me. I'm just minding my own business. I'm just like scrolling on my phone, and the girlies next to me, who are by the way so sweet, are just talking and we're chit-chatting, having a good time. And I'm not kidding you, when he sits down, he sits there like a stone. Let me give you a visual representation of how awkwardly this man sat next to me. I'm literally embarrassed for him. Again, not putting two and two together. In a split second, it clicked like a puzzle. Someone sitting across the tent gets up out of their seat. Immediately, this man gets up and jets over to the other seat and sits down. Keep in mind, he is not squished into this couch. He's sitting comfortably. He got up out of his way to go sit in another seat simply for the fact that he did not want to sit next to me, an openly gay guy. And in that moment when it clicked, I was like, oh my God, they're doing this because they're homophobic. They're doing this out of spite and hatefulness. The reason that they've not been reciprocating the respectful, positive tone that I've given them since literally the first second that I walked up and shook their hands is because they're homophobic, and they're making it out as a joke. And this guy, Mr. Krusty Dusty, is the one behind it all. Now it makes sense. So I immediately look over to my friend and I'm like, oh my God, did that just really happen? And she's like, what do you mean? And I said, did you not just see what happened? She's like, no. So I get up, I walk off, she follows me, and I start telling her what just happened. She's immediately, by the way, she's such an angel. She's like, that's so rude, that's so gross. I can't believe he did that. We should call him out. You should go over and say something. I'm gonna go say something to him. I'm like, no, while we're here, we only have one more day left. I don't wanna make it a thing. Let's just pretend that it didn't happen. 12 hours from now, I don't have to look at this guy ever again. Thank God. So just let it go. It's fine. I'll talk to the person who put this together later and tell them my experience and see what happens. A really crucial part of the story that I want to go ahead and interject here is that the person who organized the event, who put all of this together, was completely absent the entire time. So none of this was moderated. The fact that there was two cliques of people who did not like each other was not moderated. It was never addressed. The fact that they were constantly fighting and arguing in an influencer space was never addressed. And the fact that this guy was literally homophobic in my face to me, making fun of me in front of his friends, was literally never addressed by the person who put this together, who also claimed to be my friend. Which, if I'm being honest, kind of hurts my feelings looking back on it, because I was also really nice to this individual. I was told that they would personally ensure that this kind of thing was not tolerated and would not happen. But what are you gonna do? So I guess it finally got around that I was really upset at what Mr. Krusty Dusty did and how much it kind of hurt my feelings to be put in that situation. Eventually I was approached by Mr. Krusty Dusty's girlfriend. Let's call her Miss Krusty Dusty. She was immediately defensive. She was like,
I don't know what you think happened, but it did happen that way. He is not like that. He's super open-minded. He would never treat anyone like that.
and I looked at this girl in the eyes and I said, listen, I know homophobia when I experience it. I've been experiencing it for 24 years of my life. I don't need you to clarify on your boyfriend's homophobic behavior. All I care about is my integrity as an influencer. So you guys go your way, I'll go my way. We'll never see each other after this event. And that's all she wrote. She kind of walked away at that point. Later on down the line, the Mr. Krusty Dusty himself comes up to me and says,
Dude, man, listen, I don't know what you think happened, but it didn't happen that way. I have family members that are transgendered, and I love everybody, and I get along with everybody.
and then I said this, verbatim, I remember it so well. And I said, sir, do you know how low, how disgusting it is to disrespect someone who has been nothing but kind to you the entire time since the moment we met? I've shown you nothing but kindness. To take that and basically spit in my face to make a mockery out of me in front of your friends just to make it a point to be homophobic, and then to approach me and try to gaslight me and tell me that you didn't, knowing full well that your intention was to hurt my feelings. At the end of the day, I want no part of whatever this is, because it definitely wasn't an apology. I turned around and I walked off. It was what it was, and I'm proud of myself for standing up to someone, especially in an environment where it probably was not the safest thing to do that. So fast forward to the next day, I'm driving home, and I'm kind of bummed out that the event happened the way that it did, because I had such high expectations for my first concert experience. And don't get me wrong, there were tons of highlights. There were moments that I will never forget from this experience, and I made some really cool friends, especially the West Coast kids, literally friends for life. But needless to say, I was leaving feeling a little pit in my stomach of, man, I wonder how many of his fans are LGBT or have friends or family that's LGBT who have no idea that he is so actively repulsed by the idea of sitting next to a gay guy. Finally, I get home, and I talked about this experience on a couple live streams, and then a couple days later, when everyone's posting their content and tagging each other, I go to look for his account. Guess what's missing from TikTok? This man's TikTok account, this man's account got yeeted. Over 1 million followers literally got yeeted down the drain. And I'm not saying that it's just the karma of being a terrible person, but I am saying the Lord always finds a way. Amen. I hope you guys enjoyed the story time. I've had a lot of time to sort of sit and process this experience, and I'm just grateful looking back that I did stand my ground that day, and knowing that me 3 years ago would have probably apologized to him for making him uncomfortable, versus that day when I literally looked him dead in the eyes and said exactly what was on my mind and my heart. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. Round of applause. Can I get a round of applause? So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. Feel free to leave a comment. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me if you think I was being irrational or if I read the situation correctly. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Ooh, this was a goodie. All right. Bye. Much love.